Джет Алън Харис. Един прекрасен режисьор, който обръща внимание на хубавите неща, които се случват в пиесата и не се ядосва на нещата, които не се получават. Малко ми е тъжно, че работата ни приключва, но се надявам един ден отново да работим заедно. Сержант Малкъм.
My name is Jed Allen Harris. I'm 58. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Undergraduate degree in directing from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Graduate directing degree from Carnegie Mellon University. 35 years in the professional theater. I was the associate director of the City Theater in Pittsburgh for over 20 years.
When you must find the right way to blend with that other actor.
Това е когато работите с различни актьори на сцената и трябва да се намери различния подход към всеки един.
You're very lucky that most of you go to the same school and so you have the same general technique of working. But sometimes in the professional world, you work with people who are coming from all different ways of working and you have to find the way to blend with them.
Both in my home city of Milwaukee and Pittsburgh, but most of my credits are in Pittsburgh. I have worked at other universities and in some other theaters in the United States, a few directing credits in New York, or one directing credit in New York, and I have worked in association with two universities creating pieces for the Edinburgh Festival in Scotland, and then of course my extensive work with the Theatre Laboratory in Smolyan.
Аз съм много благодарна за тази роля, защото ми дава възможност да бъда нещо безкрайно различно, да се претворя, макар и за миг, за един бандюга мъж.
I was very fortunate to have a very supportive family. My mother was a ballet teacher and my father was a great fan of the arts. And so that both of their children went into the arts was actually a happy thing for my parents. And so in the very early times, especially my parents were very supportive and helped me, sent me money every once in a while when I was needed to pay my rent, and they were excited by the fact that I was interested in doing new and unusual work rather than just the typical ordinary kinds of theater. Well, of course, I think that's for others to decide. And I always liked the idea that your character isn't complete until the day you die. But I would say I try to give as much as I possibly can to as many people as I possibly can. I ask a great deal of myself. I ask a great deal of my students, but in a way I hope that is supportive and not destructive. I am generally a very happy person. I take delight in the world and delight in those around me. I try to meet each person with my best attempts at understanding them and not looking down on them or looking up to them, although there are of course a few people in my life that I will always look up to. And I hope that on occasion I have made something worthwhile for the world. I've never sought fame or a great deal of money. I have taken much more value in the relationships I've had with intelligent, creative artists. That's how I define success, is creating work that challenges the audience in one way or another, that plants a seed. If I have done that, that is great success to me. I'm not particularly interested in my name in the newspaper. I'm more interested in the production I have created's name in the minds of the audience. Except for my poor ability with languages, I think I am fairly adaptive. I delight in learning about new cultures. I love to meet new people. As long as we can find any sort of way to communicate, I find it an enriching experience. Again, I would say that perhaps my real talent is for usually being able to perceive the inner part of another human being. That's why I became a director, one of the reasons why I became a director. And so my ability to perceive the thoughts and feelings of other human beings, I think, helps a lot. I think my great interest in both music and movement and visual art have been very important to the kind of work I create. Each one of those areas, the eyes, the ears, and the body, are the essential elements of the theater, and so my interest in all those fields has helped my career as a director a great deal, I think.
Джет, искам да ти благодаря за този месец, който прекарахме заедно. Това беше един много интензивен процес и за мое огромно щастие много спокоен. Тази шапка ми я донеси ти и мисля, че най-смислените репетиции за мен тръгнаха тогава, когато я сложих на главата си. И ти обещавам, че някой ден, когато това представление остане в историята, да се надяваме, че това ще бъде по-късно. Аз обещавам, че тази шапка ще я предадеш. Благодаря ти, целувам.
With the understanding that as an outsider, although I have been here a number of times, I still feel I am only scratching the surface of the social fabric of Bulgaria. I am finding that delight of watching Bulgaria come alive in the 21st century. I have worries about Bulgaria that so many Bulgarians have a negative feeling toward their country, and this saddens me because I find both the people and the land of Bulgaria to be quite extraordinary. And I have met so many wonderful people in Bulgaria, and so it sometimes saddens me, especially when I speak to some of the younger people who have such a negative attitude toward where they live, although I suppose that's common to young people everywhere. I just hope the younger Bulgarians learn to love their country because it's an important part of who they are. The change that I have seen in Bulgaria since the first time I was here in 1993 has been nothing short of extraordinary. When I first came here, you could feel the beginnings, the stirrings of the hope and the possibilities of a life in a free nation and the beginnings of a democratic nation. And so just to see the change in the streets from walking down a street and being viewed as a foreigner with suspicion the first time I was here, so few shops anywhere, I worry that the essential nature of Bulgaria will be a little lost in the name of progress, in the name of commerce. I worry that Bulgaria will have a sameness with the rest of Europe and not maintain its extraordinary sense of the land and the people. The folk music of Bulgaria is extraordinary and beautiful. Complex rhythms of Bulgarian folk music are so exceptional and so exciting. I hope that Bulgaria will find the way to maintain so many of the beautiful traditions of the country while continuing to move forward. The Bulgarian theater is extraordinary. There are clearly some great directors and some terrific, wonderful actors here. I am very impressed with the level of acting in Bulgaria. Certainly in the theaters have a repertory where the actors are able to play in different performances night after night. Creates an extremely versatile actor and one that is adaptable to so many situations. There is both in the Bulgarian actor, I see both the ability to be incredibly honest and at the same time, when the play demands it, to create a wonderful artifice that is appropriate to the play. As far as directing in Bulgaria goes, I see often great imagination. Of course, my long association with Mladen Kiselov has shown me so much about the Bulgarian director's mind, and I have learned a great deal from it. Well, I hope that the young Bulgarian artist, both actor and director, will find ways of creating new work that challenges the audience, that challenges themselves. I again worry that there's this sense that it is better elsewhere than it is here, but if young theater artists can band together and create new work that is speaking both to the Bulgarian people and to the world, I'm sure the world will take notice, and there could be an extraordinary blossoming of new companies, new people working together that will create the kind of work that will remain in the memory for years to come. I think clearly, yes, the instances of both Mladen and Sasha Morfov show that the European Union is taking notice of the great artists of Bulgaria, and it is exciting to think of Bulgaria becoming a strong member of the European Union and how that will allow young Bulgarian artists to both move around in Europe and maintain a base in Bulgaria.
Когато за първ път се срещнах с Джет в Смолен, ми направи много силно впечатление това, че той работеше едновременно с студентите и почти не можеше да бъде разграничен от тях. И тогава останах с много силна изненада от това, че един професор може да се отнася така към работата толкова загрижено и толкова чувствително. Когато за втори път ми се отдаде възможност да работя с Джет, по-скоро да работя за неговата постановка "Проклятието на гладуващата класа", бях безкрайно много щастлив, защото това ме свързва с него по особен начин, тъй като разстоянието между Америка и България е огромно, а се оказва, че разстоянието между хората, живеещи на толкова огромно разстояние, като че ли няма никакво значение и ние бяхме безкрайно близки.
Здравей, Джет! Искам да ти благодаря страшно много за новия начин на работа, който ми показа. Нещо, което за мен беше изключително полезно. Доста ме обогати като актьор. Искам да ти кажа колко се възхищавам на неадекватното ти понякога плашещо спокойствие. И аз искрено вярвам в това, че една от основните ценности в живота на човек, това е срещата му с читавите, интелигентни, можещи хора. Въпреки че, разбира се, не мога да избегнеш от срещата с идиотите. Но ти определено си от първите в моя живот, така че благодаря ти, че стана част от живота ми, Джет.
A beautiful thought, I agree. I have nothing more to say. I think I take a little bit of a different approach. I know that the path to believability is not necessarily one that can be taken immediately. And I'm sure Stanislavski would agree with me. I would expect Stanislavski would agree with me. Maybe he demanded more immediate effort, but I do believe that it takes an actor a long time to truly understand the text, and it's when the actor has had enough time with the text that then I can demand that moment of "I don't believe you, make me believe you." I would say to have an action and a desire, which takes us probably back to Stanislavski a little bit, to make the action on the stage. And as we both know, the physical action is the core. The physical action is the action that brings everything else out. And once the actor finds the physical moment, the physical desire, the physical need, the physical expressiveness, so often the emotion will follow. That wonderful idea that the actor is a priest or the actor almost makes the sacrifice of himself to the audience, I think, is a very important goal. The sense that an actor is making the sacrifice of every ounce of their being, giving over to the performance to give to the audience, is almost an impossible task. But if we continue to strive for that, then perhaps we have the chance of making good theater. Yes, I love the empty space. I love both the adorned and the empty space. Here I sit in an adorned space. But sometimes I think the most exciting theater I've seen is a bare stage and a few actors creating magic moments. This is why so often dance is such a great communicator, because again, it's just the physical body in space with the need of nothing more than a little bit of light. So I think that the empty space is a wonderful thing, and I think that a space with many objects on it is also a wonderful thing. This will be our final presentation of the day, and I hope you enjoy it.
Ако всички билки се сушат, това примерно се замразява. И всичко това, да, и като се замрази, да слага тази капсулка, значи се запазват естествените съставки вътре. Но има специален много възстановителен на...
Добре.
Опитват да ти пробутат техните си продуктчета, хапченца, прахчета и всякакви такива неща. Ама аз не съм чувала дори в компанията ви, която е това.
Никога някакви близки. Тя е на схема за бизнес. Ако човек работи в тази компания, може да заработи и пари, така че тези продукти си вземат безплатно да излязат. А в същото време и да има и печалба, която човек вече може да прави какво да си пожелаем. Добре дошли на компанията, да пожелаем
Момичета, ще поръчате ли нещо или...
Ставаме сега.
Добре, защото тук се консумира.
Здравей, Джет. Благодарение на теб съм тук, в тази къща, пред тази печка. Благодаря ти, че ме избра мен да играя ролята на Ела в твоята постановка «Проклятието». Ти си уникален човек. Най-ценното ти качество като режисьор е, че умееш да работиш с артистите и да извадиш всичко от нас. Спомням си по време на репетиции, когато ти казвах: Джет, това няма да стане. И ти ми казваше: Милена, ще стане, ще го направиш. Смятам, че наистина заедно с теб направихме едно искрено, честно представление. Изградих лично аз един образ, който минава през своя голям катарзис. Благодаря ти за всичко. Никога няма да забравя нашата среща. Не случайно сме родени на една и съща дата, 2 декември. Благодаря ти.
I think it goes back a little bit to what we were talking about with Grotowski, that the man on the stage is a gift to the audience, is a time of communication and connection, and for me that's what the man on the stage is. Well, no. Yes and no. I think there are certain things that are universal, but after all my time in Bulgaria, I am still trying to learn to shake my head the proper way in Bulgaria. So the body language is not always universal, but I think if the impulse from the human being is true, then usually the body will communicate to people everywhere. The theater can be one of the great forms of communication that there is, because it draws on so many different kinds of communication, the physical, the verbal, and so in a sense I've always thought of the theater as the place where all the arts come together, and when you have all the arts coming together you have the opportunity for great communication. Usually miscommunication. I think I once read something where research shows that we generally misunderstand almost half of what we are told. And so most of the time for me it's a matter of one person not understanding the other and what the other person needs or wants. The word teamwork is everything, of course, in the theater. Again, it's one of the reasons why I love the theater more than anything else, is that you create a team. And each production has a new team. There's almost always at least one element that is different than the time before. And it is certainly the director's job to create this sense of teamwork that makes everyone feel like they are contributing to the ultimate goal of making great theater. The idea of, for a director to bring out the best in each team member is very important. I remember Grotowski made the distinction between group, which almost sounds amorphous and like an amoeba, and team, where each person has specific responsibilities and goals with the idea that it's all directed towards the greater good of the production.
С Джет се срещнахме в Родопите. Всички приятелства, които започват от Родопите, обикновено са прекрасни и много красиви. Не съм му превеждала само тук, по-скоро той ми е учител. И ме е научил на много и в неговите класове, в които съм била, и докато му превеждах сега тук, и в нашите разговори. И мога да кажа, че той е един прекрасен човек. Изключителен човек. И за него не може да се говори кратко, за него трябва да се говори много. За мен Джет е една усмивка и една топлина. Широка усмивка, загадъчен понякога, топъл, искрен, много красива душа, изключителен учител, сякаш е роден за учител. И с него може да се говори безкрайно на каквато и да е тема. Мисля, че Джет можеш да го обикнеш много бързо, много истински и никога да не спреш да го обичаш.
Джет, понеже не разполагаме с много време, всеки има по няколко секунди, и реших да споделя чувствата си с един образ, че от целият творчески процес тук с теб, аз през цялото време имах чувството, че съм нацелуван в душата. Нацелуван по душата, защото много рядко се среща такова хубаво хармонично съчетание между личност и творец. Високо ерудиран, един творец, който знае до съвършенство театралната Библия, който проповядва от сцената чрез театралните закони Божите закони. Ти си Божий човек. Много ти благодаря за всичко и дано Господа ни среща. Целувки и поздрави на всички колеги в Америка.
Blue. Now I feel like I'm talking on a television talk show. Yes, my favorite color is blue, always has been. I think, and there are two colors of blue that I love. The blue of the sky in October on a crisp, clear day, and then also the deeper, darker blue of the sky just before it goes to black in the evening. There's that deep, rich blue that I think is an extraordinary color. Aha! European Coca-Cola. In America, Coca-Cola is made with corn syrup, an artificial, in a sense, sweetener. And in Europe, they still use sugar. And so I love every time I come to Europe and I will have a Coke. I don't drink that much Coke at home because it's not good for me. But so in a sense, my most frequent beverage is water, and I try to drink as much pure, good water. Another reason why I love being in Bulgaria is that the mineral water is so good here. But that's my daily beverage. My treat favorite beverage is Coca-Cola. I think fall. I love when the air begins to turn crisp. I feel more alive. I love the rich fabric of the changing leaves. It's maybe the time I feel most alive is in the fall.
Hello. Много е хубаво, когато срещнеш умен, интелигентен и чаровен човек и работиш с него. Още по-хубаво е, когато успееш да станеш и приятел с него. Джет, надявам се, че разбираш колко много приятели спечели тук. Ние се радваме, че ние имаме такъв приятел като теб и се надяваме много скоро вратата на театъра отново да се отвори. Обичаме те.
So, the first thing we did in the workshop was I asked people to go out and record real dialogue. We read a little bit of scenes from Mamet, and I talked about how Mamet really listens to the way people speak and how often people in real life speak in phrases rather than complete sentences. So we will see two scenes. Why don't we see, Martina's been working very hard, so let's give Martina a break and we'll see the other scene first. We're in the middle, from the middle of the workshop, again, trying to combine a little bit of more focusing again on language as a weapon, and yet some of them also have a deal with status as well.
Enough, I cannot give an exact amount, enough to have a roof over my head, enough to have a decent meal, enough to be able to travel is very important to me, enough to be able to go out with friends to a restaurant or a film or the theater or a concert. That's enough. In many ways, I think of my life as a vacation. So sometimes, yes, it's great to go somewhere for a few days and even a few weeks. I am actually fairly adept at doing nothing when I have to. I can go into a great vegetative state for a few hours or a few days. Often at the end of semester at the university, I am truly exhausted and will do nothing for a few days but watch DVDs and go out to dinner and something like that. So there are times I do need to completely disengage from everything around me, but I think of most of my professional life as a vacation. So I need very little real estate. I have my nice little house in Pittsburgh. It's more than enough space for me. I think in a few years I will probably leave the house and move to a little bit smaller apartment, as long as I have a flat of some kind or another. As long as I have an extra bedroom for guests, that's all I need. A kitchen, a bathroom, a bedroom, a library, and an extra bedroom for friends is all I really have the desire for. Well, I do love cars, and so I enjoy driving a lot. I have a weakness for fast, powerful cars, and I enjoy driving on mountain roads and testing the limits of road adhesion. Well, of course, right now, I would say Bulgarian because I spend so much time here and hope to spend more time in the future that if I could immediately know Bulgarian, it would be a great, extraordinary pleasure to me. I think internationally, if I could speak fluent Chinese, that would be a great gift, but of course then I would need to speak all the different dialects of Chinese as well. So if you are granting me if you're bestowing me on the power to immediately have a language, give me Chinese and all the different dialects of Chinese. Since my parents are both dead, I can't say who the most important person is. I have to give you a few. I must give you a few. One is my aunt, who just turned 100. She had her 100th birthday about a month ago. And from her, I learned about a great zest and energy for life that I think infected me from knowing her. And then the other person I would have to say would be Leon Katz, my friend and mentor Leon Katz, who is probably the greatest theatrical mind, the most Renaissance mind I have ever encountered. And the nurturing he gave me, the intellectual stimulation he gave me is unparalleled. And so I have to say those two people right now. I have very strict instructions for myself that all tubes and plugs must be pulled. I do not want to live a life where I am bedridden and incapable of communication. I know medicine is extending. As I just mentioned, my aunt is 100 years old. She still has a mind that is quick and fast. As long as the mind is working and the body is adequate enough to be mobile and expressive, I think there is not necessarily a limit to how long one should live. I just know that there's something comforting in death, and that I worry that modern society is afraid, has become so completely, I was going to say deathly afraid of death, so completely afraid of death that we are finding ways to avoid it instead of embrace the beauty of the cycle of life.
И запомни, тази къща е моя. Аз я притежавам. Единственото нещо, Джет, за което съжалявам, е, че през цялото време на репетициите исках да те поканя на гости в моята къща. Понеже уж българското гостоприемство е страхотно, известно по цял свят, аз през цялото време се държах ужасно. Не можах да те поканя, не можахме да хапнем пържени картофи, да пинем бира, преди това нещо друго, но ще си запазя правото да те поканя в моята нова кръчма, която ще бъде тук. Мястото предлага доста възможности.
Rock! I love rock. Willem Dafoe because he's a friend. Actress is much harder. There are many that I like. Sadly, embarrassingly, Meryl Streep comes to mind. I respect her for her ability to transform. I respect her for her intelligence. I think but that's such an easy answer, but I still have to say Meryl Streep. Thomas Jefferson. The one yet to be written. Impossible to say. Impossible. Too many great films. Too many great films. I move very quickly between sport and history and film. All three. True friends that I feel true closeness with, maybe 30. Laura, Martha, Jeff, Jerry, Jennifer, Joel, is that it? I've got two more. John and Jeffrey. 10. 60. All of them. Honestly. It's such a complex answer. I cannot answer that question. I can't say what I love the most. Stupidity that is willful. Peace. Peace. 10. 10.
Здравей, Джет! Първото, което искам да ти кажа е, че ти благодаря за това, че ме включи в отбора, за това, че участвах в тази страхотна пиеса. Наистина това спокойствие, с което работиш, е уникално за хората около тебе, защото наистина им дава силата да чувстват своите способности и да правят това, което могат с пълната си сила.
Искам да благодаря на Джет, че в края на моето пребиваване в театър София имах щастието да работя с режисьор като него.
Много сме му благодарни за всичко, което направи тук за нас, за неговото отношение към всички хора в театъра, не само към актьорите, към службите, въобще енергията, която имаше, отношението, което имаше, атмосферата, която създаваше, докато работехме заедно. Благодаря му от сърце.
A long time ago, so I don't remember exactly, of course. The first words out of my mouth were always beautiful. I am so impressed with the countryside in Bulgaria. At the time, emerging, and yet closed. The thing that has brought me to Bulgaria the last 3 years has been the Leon Katz-Rodopi International Theater Laboratory, which I have very great excitement about. It's one of the most stimulating things I do all year, if not the most stimulating thing I do all year. No, I didn't expect any of this. It's always I try to lead life where it takes me, and so I rarely have any specific expectations, only that something will happen. And so coming to Smolyan, I expected to share and learn. From there, anything else that happened was icing on the cake. Always, what I want from everything that's happened for me in Bulgaria is to meet people and communicate, to learn, to share, to grow.
Джет, знаеш, че премиерата е празник, но и повод за тъга. Приключва един период, в който хората стават особено близки. Работата с теб беше трудна, бърза и много приятна. Надявам се, че се срещнахме не само две култури, но и един театър и един режисьор, които не си казват довиждане, а просто си казват чакаме те, ела, ако не ще дойдем ние.
Останах много приятно изненадан, когато разбрах, че има възможност да се постави прекрасната пиеса на Сам Шепард, Проклятие на бъдуващата класа, и то с човек от класата на Джет Алан Харис, когато аз не познавах, бях чувал за него, идвайки в България и с неговите workshop-ове в един български град. Стана ми много приятно, че той е проявил някакъв сентимент от спомените си за театър София и неговата камерна зала, и че желанието му е било единствено пиесата да бъде направена в нашия театър. Това много ме зарадва и с широко отворени обятия си казах да, можем да започнем. Вже срещата ми с Джет беше изключително приятна, но аз няма да говоря за моите емоции и за минутите прекарани с него и разговори. Един прекрасен човек, отварям скоба, един усмихнат човек, един спокоен човек, който внесе спокойствие в театъра. Но другото, което е по-важно, той внесе един висок професионализъм. Работата на нашите актьори с Джет, това е всъщност най-голямата полза за нашия театър. Удоволствието от резултата, удоволствието от тази среща, така се чете по лицата на всички ни. Дано, как Господ ни събере отново, да имаме този шанс да работиме в подобна дълбока драматургия. Джет, обичаме те, на добър час и успех. Смей се и света ще се усмихва.
A loving family that I will never forget. Two people who are becoming good friends, and I hope there seems to be a mutual respect and admiration. Krasi is an extraordinary visual mind that I hope I can work with again on a project that will challenge both him and me. Vasco is a man who you immediately could feel a great gentle soul, and also with an incredible ear and brain for the world of sound. The Jewish Brotherhood and Sisterhood in Bulgaria is something I'm learning more and more about. It's a small but beautiful community, and as with good Jewish minds everywhere, the level of intelligence and quest for learning is always an inspiration. My question is there ever an answer?
Здрасти, Джет. Искам да ти кажа, че в този миг се чувствам най-щастливото момиче на света. Защото на мен ми се даде възможността първата премиера в живота ми на сцена да бъде точно с този режисьор ти, точно с този актьорски състав. Защото обичам теб, заобичах те веднага, заобичах хората, с които работя веднага. Джет, ти си най-прекрасният човек, който съм срещала. Ти създаде една уникална атмосфера по време на работа. От самото начало до сега, до днес, ние работихме с любов и създадохме тази пиеса, това представление с много любов. И затова си виновен ти. Благодаря ти от името на всички и от мое име най-вече.
I'm the bird of the fantasy. It's evocative, and so I like that. It doesn't answer the question, and so I like that. It will take me a while to penetrate the mind of Alexander Iliev, and so I will be thinking about this for a long time, the bird of fantasy. I like the idea of flight, of soaring above and seeing things from a perspective, and the fantasy goes on and on and on. There's always fantasy in my life. It's interesting, I thought immediately both of the Phoenix for some reason, and also the Rock, and I don't know why. I'll have to think about that for a while and see where that immediate fantasy takes me. I don't know.
Срещнах Джет 1993 година в този театър. Театър София. Той пристигна с едно свое представление. Аз само успях да му стисна ръката. Запознани Младен Киселов. Почти 15 години по-късно той отново се появи и днес той успя да създаде един празник в който най-ценната част, според мен, е взаимното разбиране.
Ако има боясни или недавна, хлеба